Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first edition of the new year of The Heart of the Matter. We're so excited to have you guys here tonight. Tonight, we're talking about declutter your life.
Yes.
Declutter your life. Now, one thing I want to tell you before we get going tonight, there are two things we're going to change in the new year. Number one, we've been doing like a very topic-based show. We're going to go more to dealing with what's really going on. Like if we were doing that show, we'd be talking about the craziness these idiots are doing to the Capitol building right now, right? All that stuff. We want to talk about current events, and we're going to really get into them, states of those things. Another thing, we're going to go to doing the show once a month right now. So in the year 2021, we're going to go once a month. We got the broadcast starting this year. We're going to be on TV, and we also got Winning in the Word. So we're going to cut back the Heart of the Matter to once a month. So the next show will be on February the 5th. Our next show will be the first Friday of every month. So the next show will be on Friday, February the 5th at 7 o'clock. And on that show, we do know what we're going to be talking about, because tonight we're talking about declutter your life. And on that show, we're going to talk very specifically, after we go through why all this clutter is not good for you. On the next show, we're going to talk about how do you get organized, yes, right? Because that's kind of important, being organized. And a lot of people think they are organized and don't even really know what organization really means. So as we get into tonight's show, I just wanted to talk a little bit tonight about clutter and really kind of what it means. Now, what we want to talk about tonight is not just, as you think of clutter, you probably think of like a hoarder, right?
No, I think it's a big difference between clutter and hoarder.
So tell me what you think clutter is.
I think clutter is just a lot of things laying around, just stuff. A hoarder,
more of a disorder.
More really nasty on top of clutter.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. So there's a little bit difference between a hoarder and a clutter and clutter. But what I wanted to get in tonight is we're not only talking about clutter also of your space. We're talking about clutter in your mind too. A lot of folks have cluttered minds.
And it's because
cluttered
of disorganization.
And it's because of disorganization, this clutter builds up. So tonight what we want to do is I want to talk, first of all, about the effects of clutter. But first, what is the real problem? So disorganization and clutter actually have a cumulative effect on our brains. A lot of people don't realize that. This is a very serious thing. When you have a lot of clutter in your life, it's going to affect your thinking. It's going to affect your emotions. You guys heard me say on a show a while back when I was talking about being productive, how you find an area that makes you feel good, right? You find colors that make you feel good. You find areas, if you like water running, all of those things. So those are the things that you do to position yourself for great cognitive responses. And we're going to get into that. But clutter has a negative effect on your cognitive thinking. All of this, clutter affects, again, your thinking, your emotion, and all of these things affect what? Your decision-making process. So you'll find that as you have a lot of clutter in visually, right? Mm-hmm. Then you start having a lot of clutter. You have a lot of clutter mentally, right? You knew I was going to say that. No, my wife will come home and I'll be uncluttered in my mind, and then she'll clutter me up with her clutter, right?
No. That's different. That's not clutter.
Well, clutter in the mind.
Around you.
Right.
But yeah, things around you can make your mind cluttered.
Right.
And cause emotional problems. But I tell you, one thing I really want to expound on is about a place and colors. It's so true. I pick hotels and places we go and resorts by the colors. I go online, I tell you the room, I never realized it, but I pick and I look for certain colors because it energizes me.
Right. So number one, what I was saying earlier, the way it affects our brains, it's this visual reminder of disorganization. That visual reminder, it begins to drain our resources. Our brains like order. They really don't like disorder. And that's what clutter kind of represents. It's a constant visual reminder of disorganization. And what it essentially does is it really affects our cognitive resources in our brain. That word cognitive means relating to or involving consciousness of intellectual activity. Things such as thinking, reasoning, and remembering. So this is what happens when we begin to have a lot of clutter in our life. It really begins to affect those things around our cognitive. It draws down on that energy. So what are the things, and what does science really say? Well, first of all, it says that clutter reduces our ability to focus and to be productive. So that's one of the big challenges with it. The visual distractions of clutter increases, like I said, and it overloads our brain and reduces our ability to remember, our memory. It really drains on that. So 4 psychological effects that I want to talk about real quick in reference to clutter, according to research, are number 1, and this is a big one. And if you have a lot of clutter in your life, you may be able to relate to this, but feelings of shame and inadequacy that can lead to depression.
Yes, when people, you maybe come over to your house,
right,
and it's not presentable.
Right.
I've seen where people actually feel embarrassed,
right,
or ashamed because the place is not tidy.
Right. Yeah. And it's always too that your mind is constantly saying everything's cluttered. It's not picked up. It's not straight. And you're in that perpetual state of clutter, and it leads you just begin to feel a certain kind of way, and that can lead to depression. Number 2, the distraction from clutter causes us to focus on the wrong things, and as a result, it kills our productivity. So when you have a lot of clutter in your space, or a lot of clutter in your mind, you're always thinking about things. Your mind's always running. Things are never in order. What ends up happening is it really kills your productivity.
Right, because you don't know what to touch next.
Uh-huh.
You go to one thing, and then you start that, and then you look over here, and then you go over there. And next thing you know, you've spent a day, and you haven't completed anything, because you just, and it's very aggravating. You just go from thing to thing, and nothing ever gets completed, because like you say, your mind is just running.
So you spend a whole day thinking about how to get started.
Yes, and then now you're even more depressed. So it's like, I didn't finish anything, and I'm so tired because I did all this work.
Right. See, you would never think that clutter could cause all these things. It also causes negative behavioral effects on yourself and on your kids. Too much clutter can cause negative. You're always arguing with them about picking up. You're always yelling at them to do this, pick that up, move that, go do this, go take, and it ends up becoming a vicious cycle, right?
Yes, for mothers, women, because we do the majority of the cleaning in the home, it is very, very aggravating, and it's like it never ends because you're picking up constantly. Right. Because if you haven't trained your children to do that, it can become, like you said, a vicious cycle. You feel like it never ends.
And then lastly, and I think the greatest psychological effect is it causes it causes stress. And that stress causes an increase in cortisol. And your cortisol levels go up. And what can happen is as they go up, it can cause lasting effects. Cortisol is a steroid hormone. And what it does is it regulates a wide range of processes throughout your body. So it's really kind of responsible for keeping the balance in your body, because it does also include metabolism, and it also includes the immune system. So it's very important that we reduce the stress in our body so that everything stays in balance. And like we said, clutter can bring a lot of stress and can get these levels in balance, and it's not really good for your health. Yeah, get you out of balance. So tonight, what we also want to talk about is some helpful hints or just some solutions. We just want to leave you with some things to think about, some things possibly that can help you along if you have a lot of clutter in your life. And then the one thing for long-term fix to clutter is really getting organized. And we're going to really cover that on the next show. We're even thinking about having an organizational specialist come in and sit in the show with us to really give you some real organizational pointers, because God knows that myself nor Pastor Frannie is an organizational king or queen. We're confessing it, but we're not there yet. We got to work on them organizational skills. So when it comes to the mind, when we think about clutter and it comes to the mind, I want to give you 4 things that possibly could help you. Number 1, when it comes to your mind and it comes to clutter, and you have a lot of things going on in your mind, the number 1 thing I can give you, and it's advice I give to everybody all the time, give your mind a break. There are a lot of things, and I like to call, they're not kingdom issues. They're not, they're not life or death. They're not kingdom issues. There's so much stuff you guys allow to just spin out of control in your mind, out of control in your thinking, and it's really causing a lot of clutter in your everyday life. So just give yourself a break, right?
A real break. For me, when I say a break, I mean total silence. Some people like the music, calm them down, but for me, nothing. And I mean, that'll rejuvenate me and I can start up again and know where I need to be working at that point in time.
It's very imperative that you know your wife. So when my wife and I travel, this is why we've upgraded from hotel rooms to hotel suites, because I get the living room and she gets the bedroom. So she can unclutter and I can unclutter watching the football game while she's being quiet. No, I'm just joking. Suites are good because you have more room to chase them around in, guys, just in case you didn't know that. Number 2, how do you get clutter out of your life, out of your mind? Begin to eat healthier. Now, here's what I want to say about this. I want y'all to listen to me. All this New Year's resolution crap about how you make a conscious decision when you're at the table tomorrow, tonight, Sunday, to just eat a little smarter. What do you mean, Pastor? If you have steak and you're going to have mac and cheese and you're going to have sweet potato pie casserole and then you're going to have lobster mac and cheese and then you're going to have a loaf of bread and you get all these starches, make a decision. You know what? I'm going to have my steak tonight. I'm going to have a vegetable, a salad, some broccoli, and I'll have either a baked potato, mac and cheese, or sweet potato casserole. Have one of the starches. To lose weight and to eat healthier and to begin to feel better about yourself. You don't have to go on no crash diet. In the mornings now, my wife used to make me, well, she still makes me, when she hurt her foot, stop making me breakfast. Now she's back to making me breakfast. But she used to always make me 2 bagels, loaded with salmon, loaded with cream cheese. But now she makes me 1. Why? Because I am making conscious decisions to cut back on portions and add in healthier things, right?
Right. It's really a smart way to do it. When we say diet, that really just says go eat.
Right.
Eat everything. You think about everything in the world to eat. So it really works when you just pick, that's Holy Spirit, pick one thing. Could be water. Drinking more water make you lose weight. Just increasing the water and taking away the sodas. Yeah.
But it'll really, really help you with uncluttering your mind. Number 3, write things down. Write things down. Man, I have my iPhone. I have a note. I have a note just for Jeremiah. Every time I tell somebody, I make a note of it. He always wants to remember. Pastor, how did you remember that from 6 weeks ago? I got my notes, man. I put my notes down. I try not, because you got to understand, I'm a pastor, but I also run a business and I also have a wife and family. So I have, and even as a pastor, I'm the pastor of the church, but I have leaders that I have to develop as well. I have members that I have to, there's just all kinds of things that you got to do. You gotten better about this, right?
Yes, but I found I write it down, but now you got to organize the notes.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just got a bunch of stuff written everywhere. So that's another level of organization.
Right. And then the last one, relative to our mind, spend time in the Spirit. And if you're not religious or you don't understand what that means, go spend some alone time talking and listening to your inner man, whatever that inner man is for you. But for me, spending quality time with the Spirit of God is a big thing. So if you're a Christian, spending quality time with the Spirit of God is the greatest thing you can do to unclutter your mind. And I'm talking about away from your husband, away from your wife, away from your children. I'm talking about outside the house. I do it while I'm walking. That's the best time. There's no greater time for me to spend with the Lord alone, praying in the Spirit, meditating, uncluttering my mind. Maybe it's just listening to God than when I walk and when I'm alone. Okay? So I don't know how you want to do that. Second one. So now the other thing we want to help you on tonight is helpful suggestions or solutions around clutter relative to space. Clutter relative to space. So number one, and I think it's probably one of the most important things, is you got to be willing to purge often. You got to be willing to purge often. You got to get the junk out, and you got to do it regularly. You got to go in and you got to clean your closet regularly. You got to go in and you got to clean the hamper or wherever you keep your laundry regularly. You got to do those things. You got to make, and when you see things, you got to get on it, right?
Purging, well, they say if you don't touch it for 6 months,
right,
you're not going to use it.
Wow.
And to purge.
I never heard that one.
Yeah.
Get rid of it?
Yeah.
Oh.
It can be difficult because not everything's junk.
Right.
But it's very important because if you're going to, and also heard, if you bring something in, you got to take something out. That's
wow.
Pastor Deborah told me that.
Oh, there's some wisdom. So again, if you bring purging and if you bring something in to the house, you got to take something out. Okay. Number two, when it comes to helpful suggestions and solutions to unclutter our space. Number two, have a place for everything. Kind of hard?
It's not having a place for everything. It's keeping everything in its place.
Oh, so Pastor Frannie says it's not necessarily having a place for everything, keeping everything in its place.
Yeah, because you're going, you have to go. You're blowing the horn. Come on.
Yeah, but you know what though? Where I kind of disagree with that. I noticed like with my keys and my wallet and everything now, I'm keeping on that shelf.
Right.
Right. But there's not a place there for it. So when it's sitting there, it looks cluttered. I need to find a place downstairs that I'm going to put my wallet, my watch, my thing, because it does look cluttered. Right. So you do got to have a place.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying don't have a place. I'm just saying I find it difficult to keep things in the place. Like if I'm in a hurry, I'll leave things out. And you do that a couple of days, going to work or going to school with the kids. Next thing you look, you got cluttered. Backpack, shoes, things
right.
like that.
The next one is one that I implemented many years ago in our marriage. And this one came because I got tired of junk mail. My wife was the worst at going through mail. She would just let it sit there and pile up. She just didn't, remember when we started getting our bills electronically? Well, you stopped looking in the mail for bills because
that was the best thing.
The mail became less important. Now, 98% of what you get is junk mail. So it's easy to say, man, so here's the best thing I came up with. Stop clutter before it ever gets into the house. So you make a landing pad or a landing strip outside the house. Outside my house, kind of close to my front door, actually right around the side, are my garbage cans. And I literally check the mail and I literally go to the garbage can, lift up the garbage can, go through my mail right at the garbage can. I do that. We're starting to do this a little bit in the garage, where we come home and you just clean the garage again, didn't you? That's pretty good. I noticed
it's
that.
A big difference.
But what's happening is we're getting home now and we have shelving in our garage and we're starting to take things out of the car and put them on the shelves, which that's not good because it's junk. It's not that it's junk, but that's not the place for it.
Well, we declutter in the car, but we're cluttering up the garage.
Right. So we got to start doing the landing pad thing even for our garage.
Also, though, dumping mail in the garbage. Junk mail is good, but mail with important information, you need to shred it.
Right. Yeah, we did. We got a shredder.
Yeah, we've done really good on this one.
Yeah, we
about a year now.
We actually do try to practice what we preach, guys. Y'all may not kind of believe that, but these are all things that we've worked on and kind of have been through. So we're kind of giving you a little bit of playbook. I didn't realize till I studied this that clutter really had the psychological impact that it has on our lives. But it makes a lot of sense to me now. The next one that I like when it comes to clutter in space, and this may really help some of you, and it may not, but you have to realize that life is more about experiences than things. You have to realize that life is more about experiences than things, right? Mm-hmm. I think that we get so attached to things that it's almost like a sickness. It's almost like unhealthy, that we can't let go of these things. The things are not what's important. There are some things that are important, but the experiences with your family, with your loved one, with your spouse, those are the things that are important.
I think people accumulate so many things because they don't have the patience to wait or save to go and experience something they've never experienced.
Oh.
So we end up with all these things, and these things give us value and they make us feel good. So we think, because after a while you need more things. So
you're saying instead of saving and planning and being patient, mm-hmm. to have the experience, to go to Europe or mm-hmm. to go on that cruise or to go to New York City. Well, nobody wants to go to New York City, but to travel wherever it is that you might want to go, we buy things to replace those experiences. And then those things lead to what? Clutter. They lead to clutter. So, it's a tough balancing act, but it's something that you really kind of need to think through. And then the last thing, and we'll close here tonight, but I just want to encourage you that when it comes to clutter, when it comes to getting things organized, when it comes to changing some of your habits, I just want to encourage you, don't ever quit. Don't ever quit trying. Like I said, my wife and I have been working on this for a while. Our house is still cluttered. Our minds are still cluttered, but it's not as cluttered as it was. And my mind's not as cluttered as it was because I write things down. My house is not as cluttered as it was because I have a landing pad. I'm going to implement this new thing that I just heard from Pastor Deborah. When something comes in, something goes out. Now, what I like about that is what that means is when a new shirt comes in, old shirt has to go out. So that's a good thing. That'll stop me from hanging on to things. Matter of fact, I just went and bought 10 new shirts. And it's like, man, what am I going to do with all these shirts? So I think one thing you and I need to do, and we're going to do it before the next show, and we'll tell you guys in the next show how it went. But we are going to declutter our closets.
I have twice. You're just not happy with all the things I have.
You've decluttered your closet twice?
Twice.
Okay, I tell you what I'm going to do on the next show. I'm going to bring you pictures of Pastor Frannie's closet. And then we're going to let y'all decide, is their closet cluttered or does it need to be decluttered?
I have 3 closets.
I think, right. Yeah. Well, yeah, one of her
They're
3 closets.
I have so many closets.
Okay, I'm going to go home tonight before she has a chance to do anything. She said on the show, right, Jeremiah, you heard her? We got a video, right? That it's not cluttered. I'm going to go straight home tonight after the show, and I'm going to take pictures of all 3 of her closets. She's got 3 closets in our house. Hold on. She's got 3 closets in her house. And I promise you, no, we're not talking about organized, cluttered.
Oh, no.
Let me ask you a question. If you have a shoe closet and you cannot see the floor.
But they straight and they lined up.
Okay.
They're organized.
Anyway. So like we say, like my wife says, we're going to be doing these things until Jesus comes home. So the key is just don't quit. Take it a little bit at a time. Don't get overwhelmed. Okay? Now, I want you to remember the next Heart of the Matter, the next show is February the 5th, Friday, the first Friday of every month at 7:00. And on the next show, we're talking about how do I get organized. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you Friday, February the 5th at 7 p.m. on the Heart of the Matter.
Thanks for watching tonight. If this show has been a blessing to you, help us be a blessing to others. There are 2 major ways to do that. The first way is your financial support. We'd love for you to partner with us. With as little as $10, you can help us reach about 1,000 people. That's pretty awesome, right? Every dollar helps us get this message to the world. So just go to ltmorlando.org/THM to give today. The second way, you can show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at LTM Orlando. Your support on social goes a long way. Thanks again for watching tonight, The Heart of the Matter.